Today's episode is brought to you by, you guessed it, it's PG Sports. I've been saying this for weeks now. You got to head over to pg-sports.com. That's pg-sports.com and put in promo code Tater for 15% off your next order. You can buy t-shirts on there. You can buy hats, all of that good stuff. They got great apparel there. They also have a podcast. It's called Average to Savage. Definitely check that out. They got a whole thing going on pg-sports.com. Again, that's Tater for 15% off your next order. Head on over there right now. Buy yourself some new apparel. Welcome, everyone, to a rare weekend edition of Tater Talk. It is episode 70. We're recording this on a Saturday. I don't know if we've ever done this before, but we got to do what we got to do. We can't stick to the Monday night schedule as much as we'd like to, especially lately because I've been a Monday night guy at work. But I'm joined by Zach and Graz today. We got the whole crew. And first off, I want to say props to you guys for holding it down the last couple of weeks as hosts. Really appreciate that. And I hope the listeners didn't appreciate it too much because that means I got Wally pipped and they're not liking what they're hearing right now. So first off, appreciate it, guys. What's going on? Zach first.
Yeah, so just so everyone knows listening to the podcast, I'm live from the Charlotte airport right now. So
We're just grinding.
I know Justin's not an airport guy, but I'm definitely an airport guy. I like it. I like the whole feeling of it, like to go to the restaurants, overpay for everything. It's one of my favorite things. Charlotte has a very nice airport, by the way.
You look very relaxed. I'll tell you.
I have my feet up on my carry-on bag. I'm just laying out. People hearing the podcast here too, live.
You look more relaxed. You're doing a live edition for sure. They can't hear anything on our end, I don't think, can they?
No.
So they can hear one third of the podcast at least, which is good for them. They're getting the show. Graz, how about you? How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm just excited that we're both trying to spend some time in airports. I'm going to the airport later. You sold me. I'm really excited about this trip. I can think about baseball, watch a couple games at the bar. Yeah, you know what? I'm in on Zach, and airports are fun.
I can't believe what I'm hearing right now. I am not an airport guy at all. I get so stressed out in there. I guess it's not that bad once you pass security and all that stuff. But in the security line, I'm that guy who's rushing, dropping everything. My girlfriend's yelling at me, hurry the fuck up. You look like an idiot. That's what stresses me out.
But it shouldn't be that tough for you. You're a boy. You just take off your belt and you remove your shoes and you just pull your laptop out of your backpack. It's not tough.
That part's fine. Taking off the shoes and all that stuff, but going down the, pushing your stuff down that belt through everything, and you have to be kind of quick because the people behind you will freak out if you're not. That's the part. You got to be smooth when you're doing it, and I am anything but smooth.
You guys will find this really funny. I was in the security line, and there was two security lines. These young kids, probably in their 20s, try to cut the line, and some old guy goes, "Line starts here, buddy." That's the kind of stuff you get at airports. You don't get anyplace else.
And if an old guy said that to me, I would get so rattled, and it would bother me for the rest of my day. So I can't do it. I just can't do airports. All right, so let's get into the actual show now. we got a whole bunch of topics here. Obviously, we just had the All-Star break, so it's kind of surprising that we have so much to talk about because usually this is the dead week. All there really is, who won the home run derby? Who won the All-Star game? Okay, that's the show. But we actually have a bunch of topics here. So we will start with one that got me I'm not gonna lie, it got me kind of heated this week. I'm a big Mike Trout guy, and I think if you're a baseball fan, you have to be a Mike Trout guy. He's the best player, arguably, of all time, certainly the best player of this generation. Of course, he's not the most marketable player, very quiet. You don't hear much about him. He plays on the Angels, who they never get any pub whatsoever. Once Pujols went to the Angels, nobody heard about Pujols ever again, and he used to be arguably the most marketable player in baseball. So what happened this week was basically what happens every All-Star break, amplified by 1,000. There's always this talk around this time of year. What can MLB do to make Mike Trout more marketable? Why isn't he more popular? So on and so on. And this week, I think it just sort of blew up to an extent that we haven't really seen before. So it started with this Q-Score report comparing Mike Trout to Kenneth Fareed of the NBA, saying that those two players were equivalent in terms of popularity, and people, like, if you go up to somebody on the street and say, "Do you know who Mike Trout is?" The likelihood of them saying yes is the same as Kenneth Fareed. I don't believe this for a second. I think this is a horseshit report. There is no chance this is true. I even thought about doing a man on the street, asking random people, "Do you know who Mike Trout is? Do you know who Kenneth Fareed is?" Because I don't believe it for a second. I want to know if you guys do.
Yeah, so my take on this whole thing is I actually see both sides of the story. I think Mike Trout is definitely doesn't market himself well, and he's just a boring guy, and that's okay.
Of course.
But he's a great player. And people were talking about this all week, and I think it's a great comparison. Like LeBron, when you're watching an NBA game, he's involved in every play. Mike Trout's involved in probably 5% of a baseball game, right? Even though he's the best player on the field. It's tough. It's tough to really gain a following with that. But I also think MLB should do a better job in their social media. Like if I could tweet out every Mike Trout home run, I would. It's just one of those things. The Kenneth Fareed thing's ridiculous. I mean, I know
There's no chance.
I have NBA friends, and they don't even really know who Kenneth Fareed is. So Mike Trout's definitely more well known than Kenneth Fareed in my mind. But I don't know who they sampled for this random thing that came out.
Yeah, I didn't totally read up on the details, which that part's on me, but I didn't even bother because I just knew how ridiculous it was. It just cannot be true. I understand, like, maybe if you want to use, I don't know, Damian Lillard as a comparison, that actually, I could see that. That's fair because Damian Lillard isn't exactly a star. He's one of the more talented players in the NBA. I wouldn't really consider him a star. Maybe other people would. But Mike Trout comparing to Damian Lillard in terms of popularity is fair, in my opinion. Kenneth Fareed is just, they picked the absolute bottom of the barrel. Whoever, the most popular, not popular player is who they picked, just to spark a controversy on social media. And that really rubbed me the wrong way. So starting there with the Q score, and that turned into a giant, it blew up even more when Rob Manfred, the commissioner of baseball, talked about Mike Trout. It's his fault, he said, for not being marketed well. And he said something along the lines of, and I'm paraphrasing here, that if Mike Trout wants to be marketed better, he can choose to be marketed better. And I think that's a load of shit too, because you're using Mike Trout as an example for not being marketed better when MLB as a whole has been known, even before the days of Mike Trout, for being so shitty at marketing. It goes back to what you said with the social media. If you can post clips, highlights, so like anything you want, web gems, home runs, just things that make the game interesting. If you could circulate that on social media, the game is immediately marketed better and more people know who Mike Trout is. I don't know when MLB is finally going to get this through their head, but I'm waiting for that day because until that happens, baseball is this talk. We're going to have to listen to this year in and year out, and that sucks because there are so many good highlights going around, and a lot of people aren't seeing them. And then Manfred's blaming it on the player, which, yeah, some of it is Trout's fault. I'm not going to lie. Some of it is Trout's fault, but what do you think Francisco Lindor's Q score is? What is Javi Baez's Q score? Why aren't we talking about these other awesome, marketable players? What is Jacob deGrom's Q score? Is it Kenneth Fareed? Is it fucking? I can't even think of any other not popular NBA player off the top of my head. But like, the conversation has to be more broad than Mike Trout because it just bugs me. Mike Trout's the most down to earth, nicest player in the MLB. Yeah, he's not a dickhead. He doesn't have to be, and he shouldn't have to be. So that's my rant on that.
Yeah, I think it's tough because Mike Trout, like baseball has these unwritten rules that you have to respect the game and stuff. And I think that hurts Mike Trout. Like he follows all those rules and the guys that don't, they get more publicity. And I think a perfect example of the social media piece is like JaVale McGee. He's not a great player in the NBA, but everyone knows him because everyone posts clips of him doing stupid shit on the court. And he's like well known just for that. So if people could post Mike Trout making a great catch or just screwing around in the dugout, I think that'd be great. I do think Mike Trout, like, you have to want to be marketed. I think he is a pretty boring guy, but that's not his fault either. Like, he's just out there playing. He just wants to win. Like, it's not his job to help build baseball. Like, don't put that all on his back. So I see both sides of it, as I said before, but I think it's a baseball problem, not a Mike Trout problem.
100%. I don't even need to go further into it because that sums up everything I'm saying. It's a baseball. Yeah, Mike Trout could do better, 100%. But if he doesn't want to do better, don't pile on him. Focus on making the rest of your players marketable because you haven't yet. And that's a big issue. Rob Manfred is actually sort of a progressive kind of guy when it comes to baseball. He should understand more than most people that what they're doing now, especially on digital media, is not working. So I hope they figure that out sooner rather than later.
I have a question for you guys before you move on. Question
Go
for
ahead.
you guys. Is there any baseball player, I can think of only one, that's like excellent in marketing, like that everyone knows? I can think
Harper.
of one. It's Harper.
It has to be Harper. I mean, it's Harper, and I'd love to know who it would be if Harper didn't have long hair that he flipped every fucking day that he takes the field. Like, if he was just a regular Mike Trout looking guy, would he really be that marketable? Because I don't think so. Yeah, he has one-liners. He has that's a clown question, bro. He has that going for him. He's got a little bit of attitude. But if he didn't look like the way he does, then he would be just like Mike Trout. It's the same thing.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
I have a shocking twist that I don't think Bryce Harper should go to the Yankees because I think that'd be bad for baseball, marketing-wise. Because then you'd have to shave and, like, clean up. And if he goes to the Cubs, he could still be himself and still be on a historic organization that a lot of people root for.
I don't hate that take. I kind of agree with it. And then that goes towards the only reason Aaron Judge is marketable is because the guy's a giant of a human being. He's a nobody personality. Aaron Judge, he's not a personality at all. The only reason he is even remotely marketable, I still think he's not really that marketable because he's such an awkward person, and that's all he does is just hit dingers, and he's just a giant guy. That's the only thing he has going for him. So, yeah, the issue is some of it has to do with some boring players, but I'd say it's probably 80-20 in terms of fault on the MLB side.
Well, that's just the way I look at it. Here's another point. Like, a lot of the guys that are probably the most marketable players are these Hispanic guys, and a lot of them don't speak English that well. So we're just talking about the guys that are from America. A lot of these guys like Baez and Lindor, they probably have better personalities than all these guys, but it's just the language barrier and some other things that just the baseball fan in America is just old white guy. You know,
Right.
It's tough to market to the kids when they don't see themselves in that. So there's a multi-pronged problem for MLB.
What do you think Nolan Arenado's Q score is? That guy's a fiery guy. One of the more fun players all around to watch offensively, defensively, attitude-wise. He's worth a quote He's a good quote every once in a while. His Q score, what I'd love to know him. Like, it's probably an NBA player I've never heard of in my life. So, it goes further than Mike Trout. It's a problem throughout the league, and it needs to be solved sooner rather than later. And I know a lot of people have the opinion, if you put clips on social media, that's not going to solve the problem. No, but it's going to make a lot of progress, and it's going to pave the way to solve that problem. So it has to be done. And if it's not, then the league is going down the drain. And I know that's a drastic way of looking at it, but it's just the way I look at it. We did have, like I said, the All-Star break this past week. So we had Home Run Derby. We had the All-Star game. I liked the Home Run Derby. I thought it was kind of boring this year with a lot of, I don't want to say no-name players, because if you follow the sport, then they are names. All of them are names. But if you're a casual fan, you have no reason to tune into this other than Bryce Harper, who ended up winning the whole thing. What did you guys think about the Home Run Derby? Did you find it entertaining? Any criticisms of it?
So let me just start off by saying I picked Bryce Harper, and he ended up winning. So anyone that took that kind of advice, you can thank me, even though our podcast probably came out after it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I kind of want something new at the Home Run Derby. I don't care how many you can hit. I rather see guys hit long ones. That's my take. So I don't know how you can work that in. Maybe it's total distance of home runs, but in the stat age in baseball, they can get the home run distance like a snap of the finger. So I would love to incorporate something like that rather than just hit as many as you can in this time frame. Some of the balls are just barely making it out. It's like, that's not that interesting to watch. I'd rather see longer home runs and less of them in my mind.
Well, that's what happened with Alex Bregman. He was hitting them just over the fence, and I think a lot of people expected that because Bregman's such a small guy. I was shocked to begin with that he was in the Home Run Derby, but I guess he's a personality in a way, so somewhat made sense. But I get what you're saying. I love seeing the moonshots. I think they have kind of incorporated that into the Home Run Derby with the bonus time and all of that. I like the timed aspect of it. I don't like the bracket at all because the guys having the best rounds are just beat by guys having better rounds. And I like the way they used to do it with, for example, the Josh Hamiltons of the world who are just bashing 20 homers per round. Those guys should be in the finals. So I hope they fix that, but keep the timed aspect of it because I like that. Did you guys catch Harper cheating? Harper cheated in the Derby. I actually don't have a problem with it, only because it was in Washington and it put on a show. But it should have been Schwarber. Schwarber should have won that Derby.
Well, it's like I hate the rule that the ball has to land for you to throw another pitch. Like if you can just get another one off, and I totally agree with you on the bracket. If you're not going to seed it right, it makes no sense. And I like that the 3-point contest kind of like the home run derby. Like best people advance no matter who's in your matchup. And I'd rather see longer 3-pointers than just the regular NBA 3-pointers. Like I want to see stuff that I don't see, like Alex Bregman hitting 20 barely, like 310 feet. That doesn't do anything. Yeah. But Bryce Harper won in his hometown, which is kind of cool. And his dad, I didn't know his dad was that cut. His dad's pretty ripped.
Fucking huge.
Yeah. Worst beard I've ever seen. Worst beard I've ever seen in my life.
It's too much. It's too much. That beard, you gotta do something, trim it up a little bit. I don't know what you do there. So that's the Derby. The only lasting thing I have to say about that is I miss Chris Berman in the Derby.
Me too.
It's not the same without the back. It's not the same at all. I can only listen to those guys. I can't even tell you right out the top of my head who the commentators are for the Derby. It's just not the same as Berman. There's no personality. It's just, oh, there's Alex Bregman. He has this many homers this year, and let's see him. Oh, that one's gone. That's all it is for 2.5 hours. I can't.
Yeah, Berman probably before the Derby, he studies the town it's in, and he probably writes down 10 to 20 jokes about something around the place. Like he hit it to this town. Like he just does his prep work. Even though it's like corny dad jokes, that's what I look for from Berman. So yeah, I totally missed him as well.
Yeah, it's the nostalgia factor that has a lot to do with it too. It's just I missed the back because that's all I heard from the day I was born to a couple years ago when he stopped doing it. So, and then of course we had the All-Star game. I think it was just your regular old All-Star game, other than the fact there were 10 fucking home runs. And we'll get into Josh Hader in a second, but Josh Hader had himself a rough night. He was actually the reason.
Both ways, yeah.
He was the reason the National League lost, probably because of that Gene Segura 3-run homer that just blew up in the National League's faces. That was sort of the tipping point of the game, I would say. And we'll get to Hader after this, but I have the American League won. There were 10 home runs. That's really all you need to know. Bregman won the All-Star game MVP. Shouldn't have been him. It should have been Gene Segura. Whatever. Who cares? But I have some trivia for you guys. And I don't know if we're going to do all of these questions. So basically, there were 10 home runs, like I said, which it set a record for home runs in an All-Star game. And we started this trivia over at NBC Sports Boston, where, like I said, I've been working Monday nights, which has interfered with this podcast, but that's a different story.
Quit your job, dude. What are you doing?
So we started this little trivia where we would name, like, for example, Aaron Judge, he homered in the game. The last Yankee to homer in the All-Star game was in 2003.
Jason Giambi.
Who was it?
Jason
Giambi.
Mike, so we went through each player who homered and said the last person from that team was in this year. Who was it? So the next one is Mike Trout. The last Angel to homer in the All-Star game was in 2006.
Oh, I know this.
Who is it?
Bobby Abreu.
Nope.
Oh.
Troy Gloss?
Nope. I'll give you guys 3 guesses. All right, I'll decide when it's time to tell you the answer because I don't want this to drag.
Okay, 06 Angels. Teixeira?
06 Angels. No.
Chone Figgins?
No. This guy should be obvious, but you probably don't think of him as an Angel.
Vlad?
Yes, it's Vlad.
Wow.
Yeah, next up is Wilson Contreras. He homered. The last Cub to homer in the All-Star game was in 2007. Who was it?
Oh,
man.
It's got to be Sammy. Is Sammy around?
No.
Wait. Oh, I think so. I don't know.
Sosa was long gone, I think, by 07. Or he was an Oriole.
The Cubs are so bad. I'm trying to think of who's even their best player.
Oh, Carlos Lee.
No.
Derek Lee.
No. Good guess, though. No, though.
No.
Again, think of someone you don't think about on the Cubs, but they are very good.
But they're a Cub.
They were a Cub in 07. I have a time limit in my head.
Oh,
I will tell you. There you go. I think Roz might be looking at a list, but I don't even hate it because it's helping us run through it.
I was showing. My hands are up.
Well, I can't see shit. Trevor Story, Zach's boy, he homered. The last Rocky he is red hot. Red hot. He could carry the Rockies. Him and Arenado could carry the Rockies to the playoffs, but we'll talk about that another time. Trevor Story homered. The last Rocky to homer in the All-Star game was in 2006. Who was it?
Todd Helton.
No.
Brad Hoff.
No, I forgot about Brad Hoff, though. That guy was an MVP baseball. He was awesome at MVP
Those
baseball.
are my two bullets. I have nothing else.
Yeah. What was the other one you said when Garaz quizzed us? I think you said Ryan Spielberg.
Yeah.
It wasn't him, though.
No.
Sure as hell wasn't him.
Team. Yeah. God, so that was the year before they played the Red Sox in the World Series.
So just think of that same roster.
Tulo?
Tulo.
Not Tulo.
There's
that airport. Whatever, it adds an added effect to the pod.
I can't think of anyone else.
All right, it's Matt
Carlos
Holliday.
Gonzalez?
Oh, it's Matt Holliday.
Matt Holliday, yes.
Lamp.
Gene Segura homered. The last Mariner was in 2017. That was Cano. That's too easy. So who was before him in 2007?
Hopefully I've given us a little more information.
Tell that lady to shut up.
I
don't know what she's
We
doing.
got a pod going on here.
I'm sorry about this.
I don't think I could name a Mariner before 2015.
I think someone's flight just got canceled.
I mean, we might just have to let her just talk.
Let me mute myself.
Okay. Graz, do you know?
No, the pressure's on me. Okay, 07 Mariners. What do I know about the 07 Mariners? I'm going to go Ken Griffey Jr. I know that's not close.
2007, dude?
Yeah. Of naming absolutely incorrect players.
Oh, yeah, 2007, Ken Griffey Jr. came back from the dead, and, it's Ichiro. 2007 Ichiro.
Oh yeah. She's done talking.
Okay, perfect. Christian Yelich for the Brewers is homered. The last Brewer was in 2011. This should be so easy.
Oh.
Richie Sexton.
What do you say, Graz?
It's Prince.
Yeah, Prince. Yeah.
Richie Sexton.
This one, I will give you guys a quick, guess. You guys won't guess this one. Scooter Gennett homered. The last Reds player to homer in the All-Star game was in 1982.
Johnny Bench?
No.
Joe Morgan.
No. Those guys were both on the list, but they weren't the last one.
Schmidt was the Phillies.
Do you guys want to know? Because you're not going to guess. Yeah. Dave Concepcion.
I'm a big Dave Concepcion guy, though.
Okay. Lastly, Alex Bregman and George Springer both homered. The last Astro to do it was in 95, believe it or not. Who was it?
Shit. Bagwell.
No.
Biggio.
Correct. It was Craig Biggio, which that's an upset. I would have thought Bagwell. Yeah, it was Craig Biggio, the guy who never hit home runs. Actually, kind of did because of roids, but yeah. Okay, so Josh Hader, like we talked about, he blew the All-Star game for the National League. He also blew everything about his life because a lot of tweets that I cannot read on this program were released. A lot of them, all the ones from 2010, 2011. So he was about 17, 18 years old when it happened. And while he was on the mound, Twitter did its thing and dug up a bunch of bad, problematic old tweets, including the N-word, including homophobia. One of them straight up just said, "I hate gay people." Not really. You can't really have an excuse for that. I don't know, what you say to get out of that. You can't. So,
there's no spin zoning a tweet that says "I hate gay people."
He spun a few of them by saying they were rap lyrics, which I actually whatever. I get it. When you're 17, 18, sometimes you just tweet rap lyrics. Even with I don't agree with the hard R's at the end of the N word, but I don't know. People do their thing sometimes. There was that. There was the homophobia. There was a lot of get in the kitchen and suck my dick type tweets, which I don't necessarily agree with. We love women on this program. We respect women. After the game, he was kind of ambushed by the media about it. He didn't really know the tweets at the time, so he was just like, I'm sure there's rap lyrics out there. I'm sorry. Lorenzo Cain was interviewed, and even he was just like, I don't know. We're moving on from this. Obviously, people didn't let him just move on from this. This was a huge deal. Brewers and the MLB actually did not suspend him. He has been forced to participate in a sensitivity training program, which I guess it's the right move because you can't really suspend someone over something that happened 7 years ago on Twitter. I don't know. I wouldn't agree with the suspension, so I think it was handled properly. Apparently, he cried in an apology to his teammates yesterday being Friday. And I don't know. I don't know if this is over, though. I don't think anyone's ever going to be able to look at Josh Hader the same. So, Zach, what do you think about that? What do you think about this whole Josh Hader controversy?
Do you want to know how bad MLB is at marketing its players? Josh, these tweets don't get found out until Josh Hader pitches in the All-Star game, even though he's been unreal. The fact that there was such a delay here. And early Twitter, I mean, I probably have some tweets out there, not anywhere near Josh Hader, but I have some regrettable tweets. So I understand that piece of it. But think of him getting shelled in the game and having to come off the field and have to answer to all these tweets. It's a tough spot. I give him credit for speaking to the media right after, speaking to his team right after. I actually think he probably believes some of this stuff deep down, but it's tough. Like when you're in a locker room, everyone has different beliefs. And when you start tweeting stuff out and making it public, people can start calling you out for it.
Right.
So it's just a tough spot. And I hate to see it happen to him because he's had such a good season, but now this is definitely going to be a black spot in his career.
It's never going to go away. That's the thing. The internet will live on forever, and those tweets will be there will be screenshots of those tweets forever. He's a young guy. He's 24. He has his whole life ahead of him to deal with this, and it's something that he's just going to have to be like, accept it and say, you know what? I fucked up when I was 17, 18. I was an idiot. I'm not the same person anymore. I'm going to go out there, continue striking guys out at an alarming pace. And if you guys don't believe me when I say that I'm not the same person, there's not much I can do about that because I already screwed up. But I'm still, like, this is my job. I'm going to go out and be one of the best relievers in baseball. I think the guy's a scumbag. I don't think people change from age 18 to 24. I think that's when you start becoming who you are, is probably around 18. And I tweeted stupid shit out too. I would tweet like I blogged about this and I joked. And I remember I had to go back and delete a ton of dumb tweets where I was like just swearing like an idiot to my friends and saying just stupid shit, nothing racist, nothing homophobic, but anything like that. But I'm going on to be a professional in my field, at least I hope. And if anyone dug up those tweets, people would be like this kid, like, what was he talking about? So you just first off, you got to get a better agent or something who scrubs all this off the internet the second you get in the big leagues. But it's just an unfortunate story. Not much on to pile on other than that. It sucks, but he's just going to have to live with it.
Yeah, it's tough that now when you're in the public eye, now people are going to dig up your tweets. So that's just kind of a fact of the life now.
And did you guys see this? Kind of off topic from baseball, but the director of Guardians in the Galaxy, James Gunn, had the same exact thing happen to him yesterday. So he was fired he does not direct the Guardians of the Galaxy movies anymore because of his own tweets from 2011, where I think his were more like weird, almost, I don't want to call him a pedophile, but they were like pedophilia jokes. He was joking about pedophilia and joking about rape and stuff. So not the best look for him. I don't know if like firing him is the right move, but I don't know how. Thank God I'm not like in charge of that type of stuff because I don't know how I'd handle that.
The key for these guys is get Time Hop, the app that you can put on your phone. And if you see any problematic tweets that come off, just delete them right when you see them in that app. So, or
just, I think in Twitter, you can just search your name and then just type in whatever word you think could be a problem. And then it will pop up. Actually, we went out for drinks. A bunch of us went out for drinks, and we were talking about Josh Hader last night, and we started searching our own names with things and just showing them to each other and being like, oh, I wonder if this could be a problem. Like, I don't know. If you think you have problematic tweets, go out and do that sometime because it'll save you. It might save you in the long run. Manny Machado, finally on the move. And as usual, if anything good happens to the Dodgers, where Machado went, I have to ask Zach his thoughts because Zach was out on the Dodgers the first month of the season. So the theme with the Dodgers this year is check in on Zach. Are you still out on the Dodgers?
I'm now in on the Dodgers. After
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
now in on the Dodgers. I don't want to flip flop, but when you get a guy like Machado, like a top 3 position player in baseball, I mean, he swings the power in the NL straight to the Dodgers with their pitching staff. Their lineup is now even deeper. I think it's a great move for both sides. I think they have a chance to re-sign him if he likes it in LA, which is a big positive for them. So I don't think they gave up a ton in return. I mean,
But
from
do you
what
think
I
they would
thought,
do that with Seager and Turner?
I don't know. I could see them moving either of those guys. They're both pretty injury prone. Machado's been an Iron Man,
True.
the last couple of years. So, I mean, Manny Machado is an upgrade over either of those guys, and I think the Dodgers are now the favorite in the NL if they can get the pitching going, because we saw their All-Star Ross Stripling get lit up in the All-Star game as well. So,
Yeah.
other than Kershaw, they need another guy. I think they're still going to make a deal, but yeah, I'm in on the Dodgers now to make the playoffs.
I was going to ask you if you thought they were favorites in the National League because I think they're obvious favorites. I don't think they were already on. I think they had the best record in the National League, I think, since May. And I think that's only going to get better. I think they're in for a huge second half. Machado is the type of player. There aren't many players like that who change an entire team. Machado is one of those players. So I agree 100% with everything you just said. They need the pitching. You can't win in the postseason with no pitching. The only team I really remember that had a depleted pitching staff and still went on to the World Series is the Cleveland Indians, who their whole starting staff was injured, but they at least had the bullpen. The Dodgers really don't have the strongest bullpen, and they don't have the strongest starting staff. The only real anchors of that pitching staff are Kershaw and Kenley Jansen. That's really the only anchors they have there. So they might need one more piece. That being said, I think they're the clear favorites in the National League. We could be looking at a repeat World Series, Astros-Dodgers. I think that's a real possibility.
What I didn't like during the All-Star game was they kept trying to get Machado to say where he wanted to go, and he's like, dude, I'm just here to play. Like, I just want to play. I don't want to talk about where I'm going. We all knew he was going to be traded by the end of that game or when the season started again. That player had no control really over where he was going. So I hated that they just kept badgering him, trying to get an answer out of him because he's the nicest guy.
Yeah, it was Rosenthal. It was Rosenthal just saying, hey, buddy, you're going to get traded after this game. And he thought it was a funny storyline. And Machado's like, look, man, I don't know. I'm just trying to focus. I love Baltimore. And then Rosenthal was like, yeah, but, like the Dodgers, and then Machado's like, listen, buddy, I don't know. So that was one trade. And the second one, which that was a game changer in the National League. I think we had a game changer in the American League as well. Maybe not as much, but Brad Hand from the Padres, a top reliever in the league. He has been for the last 3 seasons, on the move to Cleveland. Cleveland has been sort of out of the picture, I would say, throughout the entire first half. And I think people are sleeping on them, especially after this acquisition of Brad Hand. And don't sleep on that rookie reliever either they got in the deal, Adam Simber. I think he is a problem too. They officially fixed their bullpen woes. I would say we haven't seen Brad Hand pitch for the Indians yet, but I would say that those issues are mostly fixed. They need Cody Allen to figure it out. They parted ways with Francisco Mejia, their catching prospect, and he's a big catching prospect, but you got to do what you got to do to contend, and that's part ways with prospects at the deadline to go for it. I love this move for the Indians.
Yeah, I mean, their catcher, Yan Gomes, in the All-Star game, so it's like he's blocked at the major league level. I like Hand and Simber, like you mentioned. Simber kind of throws, sidearm, underhand, so it's tough for righties, and Hand is tough on lefties. So I think it really solves their issues on both hand. They have some specialists finally.
If there's one thing Terry Francona is good at, and he's good at a lot, it's managing a bullpen. So once Andrew Miller comes back, if he's healthy, I think this is a force to be reckoned with. Come the postseason, I don't think there's an easy path in the American League for anyone. I think any team, the Astros, the Red Sox, the Yankees, the Indians, all of those teams are going to have tough times in the postseason. It's going to be a battle. Even the Mariners are still being slept on. The A's are making a run. All of these teams are really, really competitive. So I can't wait to see what happens in the American League postseason. All of those teams are so good.
And it sounds like Familia might be going to the A's, which is another big deal, too.
Yeah, who would have thought the A's would be buyers at this deadline?
Crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah, the AL is stacked. I think you saw it in the All-Star game, too. They have the better league right now.
For sure. So going back to the National League here, There were reports that Major League Baseball is strongly considering a DH in the National League sometime in the foreseeable future. Obviously, nothing has been finalized. There's just rumors that they're seriously considering it. I am on record saying I am all for this. I want a DH in the National League. I am done with watching pitchers hit. Yes, every now and then we get a Bumgarner. We get moments like the Bartolo Colon homer. Things like that are awesome. No doubt about that. But in a game that we're trying to make more exciting, we cannot afford to have random pitchers that we've never heard of who have a .03 batting average step up to the plate. It has to stop. I can't watch it anymore. We need that DH in the National League, and I just think this is another step towards making the game more fun. I hope they get it done.
Yeah, this is long overdue. I don't know why the National League doesn't have a DH. No one wants to see the pitchers hit and just shortens their lineups. Like, we want to see runs scored. We want to see people hit. It will help grow the game. I know Graz is a big proponent of this, so I'd love to hear his take too.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I am so happy. Pitchers hitting is so stupid. Every time I watch a pitcher hit, he gets hurt. If I have to go back to Tanaka this year, or even Chin-Ming Wong breaking his leg, that was very crushing as well. There's no reason for pitchers to hit. It's all these traditionalists. They're all over the radio. They still exist that want to watch. Like, a real ball player knows how to hit. When do they learn how to hit? I'm like, yeah, you know what I really want to watch? I really want to watch Sonny Gray swing the bat when I have Giancarlo Stanton. You're right. You caught me.
It's so stupid. I hope this change happens within the next 3 years or so. I think that's a reasonable window to make the change. I think maybe that's a little soon, maybe 3 to 5 years, but because it's not an easy change to make. I mean, you're changing rules for an entire side of the league. That's a big change for the National League to make in a 162 game season, but it is a change. I think that needs to happen for sure. We don't need to jump farther into it because there aren't really any details other than there's talks going on, there's progress being made in those talks, and it is a storyline to keep tabs on for the foreseeable future.
Well, it could also extend some guys' careers too. I mean, only being able to be traded in the AL because they have a DH, now it opens it up and guys can get larger contracts further into their career. So it just keeps the stars in baseball longer, I think.
Absolutely. The designated hitter gets laughed at a lot. It's like, oh, all you have to do is just step up and hit. You're not a real baseball player. I mean, if you can crush the ball 450 feet 40 times a year, you should be allowed to do that. That's what people want to see. No one wants to see a guy. All the pitchers have that same fucking stance where they're like people can't see it, bad radio, but they do that stupid stance where it looks like they've never stepped in a batter's box in their life, and then when they start running, they look like the whole thing's a disaster. And they have to put that stupid sweater on.
How is it different than a lefty reliever coming out of the bullpen to get one guy out? Like, it's like, all right, all you do is get lefties out. You can't do anything else. I mean,
yeah, it just messes. I can't watch. Well, I can because I love it, but I love baseball, but it's hard to watch National League Baseball sometimes. It really is because it's a rally killer too. You could have bases loaded and it's a big spot in the game, and then like the pitcher comes up to the plate. It's like, well, that sucks. That's a rally killer. I hate it. Do we have a mailbag this week, Roz?
Yeah, I have a couple questions for you guys.
All right. Let's hear it.
First thing, we did a little trivia before. I'm going to hit you with a little trivia to fill in some time here with some good questions. This comes from a year in baseball, which I've considered that ended in a strike and nothing ever happened. It's 04. Okay. Something might have happened that I don't like to talk about. But hypothetically, if there was a World Series in 04, how many St. Louis Cardinals do you think you can name?
I think I can name
This is a good lineup. They had a really good lineup.
All right. Did they have? I mean, obviously they had Pujols.
Yep.
They had Edgar Renteria that year.
Yep.
Scott Rowland.
Yep.
They had Scott Rowland. They had what's his name? Did they have Jim Edmonds at this time?
They did have Jim Edmonds at this time.
Okay. Yeah.
Larry Walker.
That's going to be my issue.
Larry Walker was traded that year. Good job. And played in the World Series.
Wow. That's a great guess. Pitchers, they had Chris Carpenter.
Yep.
They had Wainwright? No.
Not yet.
He was a rookie, I think, in like 06 or something.
Yeah.
Wow. I can't even think of their pitchers right now. This is embarrassing. I should know more than this.
Mark Mulder? Or like Corey Lytle or someone just like...
Oh, someone in that...
Yadier Molina. No.
They
Tim
did,
Hudson.
Hudson.
they did have Yachty, but he wasn't the starter yet.
Okay.
He
Okay.
was on the team. He was developing. Their starting catcher was someone that has been in the news for the Cardinals very recently because he's no longer with
Mike
the Cardinals.
Matheny.
Yeah,
Mike Matheny. Yeah. Okay. I
that's
should have
what
known
made me
that.
think of this.
Yeah, I should have known that. Damn, 04, it doesn't seem like it was long ago, but a lot of those guys are just like they're managers now. We don't even know where they are in the league. Like
They should do a
Where's
where
that-
are we now?
what's Edgar Renteria doing right now?
I can figure that out. Give me a second. Keep guessing while I figure it.
Didn't the
Dude,
Red
I don't-
Sox sign him like the year after or the year after the World Series, 2 years after the World Series?
Yeah, they did. I think it was right after the World Series. And he sucked.
He was terrible.
He was very bad.
He retired in 2013. Edgar Renteria played through 2013.
Yeah, that's actually kind of crazy. Fuck, who else was on that team?
Oh, there's a lot of good names on here. If you want me to start dropping
Yeah,
some of
run
these
through.
great names.
Run through 'em.
You guys
Oh,
missed
what,
Tony Womack.
hold on, I got one.
Okay.
Tony Womack. I
Tony
love
Womack.
that guy in MVP baseball. That's another one of my MVP baseball guys.
Tony Womack is unbelievable. All
right, go ahead.
Roger Cedeno was on that team.
Was
Yeah, is he-
Tavares Jr. on that team?
Who?
That outfielder, Tavares Jr.?
No,
I don't think so.
that might have been the year after.
How many teams did Roger Cedeno play for? Because I actually did not know he was ever on the Cardinals. I think he was on the Astros at one point. Maybe I'm making that up.
Yeah, I remember him on Detroit.
I base a lot of my my long time ago baseball knowledge on video games that I used to play. Just my memories of them on certain teams.
6 different teams. He played on 6 different
See, there you
teams.
go. He was kind of a journeyman, so I didn't know he was on the Cardinals. Anyone else that is of note?
Yes.
What was their
here's
pitching staff?
So here's the pitching staff. Let me click the wrong
Carpenter.
tab. Pitching staff, people you know. Not in the staff, but Jason Ingrinhausen was on the team at that point.
Wow, that's one I should have guessed. That
Dan
guy,
Herron,
yeah.
Dan Herron was on the team.
Another journeyman though. Like those
Yeah.
type of guys, I can never guess what
Was
team they're
David
on.
Eckstein on that team?
Oh,
No.
he was on the Angels, I think, at that point.
Yeah. And then 2 of my all-time favorites, Rick Ankiel and
Oh yeah,
all-time
right.
Rockies legend, Jason Markey.
yeah. All right, nice.
How
He's
did
the
the
Rockies
make the
legend.
World Series with these guys? Like, how?
That's how I feel about the 2007 Rockies,
Their
who won
lineup
like
was unbelievable.
40 games in a row.
No. Their lineup was really good. Roland, Edmonds, and Pujols
Yeah, oh,
all
yeah.
had 30 and 100. They were just
That's
with
a
that
murderer's
son of
row.
the ball. Yeah.
For sure. All right, next up.
Next question here. Did you? It's more of a statement we have to talk about. Did you see what happened to Adam Jones and Chris Davis on
They got
Friday?
stuck in an elevator.
They got stuck in an elevator.
You know who else got stuck in an elevator? Garen Austin, the Red Sox reporter. She was tweeting about it last night during the game, or it might have been right before the game, but she was stuck in an elevator. She kept tweeting. I don't know, Graz, if you want to search the tweets, because I don't know how educated you are on this. It was so funny just knowing who Garen Austin is. Just wanted to throw that out there.
I'm glad she got stuck in an elevator.
There were 2 stuck in elevator stories in one night in baseball. What are the odds of that? That's insane to me.
That's why. Well, here
In
comes
different
there's a
places.
question with it. I was going to ask
Okay.
you guys. If you get stuck in an elevator, what 2 major league players would you want to be stuck in an elevator with?
That's like a question I need to like prep for because
I'd
there's so many
say-
options here.
I'd say Aaron Judge so we could get out. Like, I could get on his shoulders and go through the top of the elevator.
Okay.
And then who's the strongest guy? So we could just pry the door open. I would hate to be stuck in an elevator. I would probably be tweeting like Garen Austin. I don't like those close confined spaces for sure.
I don't know what my answer is on this question. I want to say someone who I could pick their brain while I'm in there about just everything baseball. But I don't know if there's anyone, maybe like a Mike Trout. Like, how does it feel just being a complete dud and not being marketable at all? But maybe I'll ask him that question.
I feel like some of the TV guys would be good, like David Ross or Eric Burns. Like, they probably have some stories that they could tell. I would want to hear some stories if we're going to be stuck in there for a while.
Yeah, I don't really even have an answer. I hate to be that guy with no answer, but maybe JD Martinez, he could teach me how to hit. He's been teaching Red Sox players how to hit all season long. Maybe enough time in an elevator with him, I could become a decent hitter.
My answer is also on the escape route. I choose Evan Gaddis to pry the door open and Francisco Lindor to raise spirits.
Oh, that's a good one. Francisco Lindor is a good one.
Yeah,
I don't know. I might get annoyed by him though, because it's kind of one of those situations like you're too happy. Calm down.
Oh my God.
We're stuck in an elevator. I'm pissed off. Shut up.
Shut up, Francisco.
Yeah, stop smiling. You gotta stop
Stop
smiling.
smiling at me. It's not funny.
Okay, next question. This is the anniversary of one of Boston Red Sox most famous plays of all time. This is the anniversary today, Saturday, of the Manny Ramirez cutoff.
I just tweeted that out too. That is the funniest moment in baseball history.
Well, that was my question. Is that the funniest moment in baseball history?
Yes.
Wow, you took the exact question from me.
Yes. That's just it. Yes. I love that clip more than anything.
What is he thinking there? I'll leave it to you guys.
I don't
What
know.
is he thinking?
Graz,
He's not.
what was Manny ever thinking? What was he ever thinking? He pissed behind the Green Monster during an inning.
I feel like all the funniest stories in MLB come out of Fenway Park. Like, remember when that dude just threw a pizza, like a pizza slice at someone? Like, that was hilarious.
Yeah, that was the best broadcast booth moment probably in Red Sox history with Orsillo and Remy. And going off the tracks a little bit here, there was a report, I think it was the San Diego Union Tribune, they asked the question, is Don Orsillo having too much fun in the broadcast booth? That's the conversation that they're having in San Diego. Is Don Orsillo having too much fun in the broadcast booth? Does he need to tone it down a little bit? That is crazy to me. Bring him back. Bring him back to Boston. I want it to be Orsillo and Eckersley from here on out.
Yeah,
That'd
we
be
saw.
an awesome booth.
We saw.
I love Remy, but still.
We saw Boston Orsillo. I'm sure he's out in California and San Diego enjoying the weather, like maybe doing some drinks before the game, just
Laid back.
Up. Yeah.
Shout out Orsillo. That's one of my favorite people.
Dude, it's honestly tough to announce when your team's terrible, right? It's just really tough to get through games. So they should be happy he's making it like people laugh and keeping the mood high.
I could see in a high leverage situation, Padres are somehow good, and it's a big situation. If Orsillo's just focusing on jokes rather than the game itself, then you can have a conversation about it. But when your team is last place year in, year out, and your broadcast booth is making it fun, and you're complaining about that, that's crazy to me. Do we have any more?
Yeah, I have a. So it came out the other day that Hicks for the Cardinals was out cleaning the wall, which then he went on to tweet. I think maybe it was before, but I saw this all at once. He went on to tweet that there should be a velo derby. Are you guys in on the velo derby idea? Like, so pitchers get
I
up
see what
there
you're saying.
in the All-Star game and try to throw as hard as humanly possible.
It would never happen because of injury concerns. I think if a pitcher goes up there trying to throw as hard as he possibly can, there's a high risk of something bad going on. So I think the probability of it happening is pretty low. But I like to see it, obviously, just to watch Hicks, Chapman, all them go at it. But on the other hand, we already know how fast they can all throw. Like Hicks throws 104, 105 sometimes. Chapman throws around 102. We've already seen their highest velocity, I think, right? So we kind of already know who's going to win.
But when the adrenaline's high and you're going head-to-head, they could maybe amp it up a little bit. I just wouldn't want to be the catcher trying to catch
I was just going to say that.
You'd have to use like a wall.
That's the worst job. That's the worst job ever.
Gary Sanchez doesn't pick it up in the second half. That's going to be his job next year.
They should have the lowest defensive rated catchers go up against like those guys, and that should be a catcher challenge. Who can catch these balls? Because I don't think many people would be able to. How fast do you think Hicks could throw without controlling it?
Probably
110?
Yeah, close to 110, I would say.
I'd say at least 220.
All right, Graz.
At
Yeah.
least.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Okay. Last question. Actually, a real question. So, this is a
Actually, a
Yankees
real
question,
question.
but you guys can answer this. The Yankees are falling behind the Red Sox, and they refuse to start Sevy this weekend. As Red Sox fans, can you please explain to me why the Yankees are starting all of these shitty starters and not giving me what I want when every game seems to matter if they really don't want to play in that wild card game?
Here's my theory on this. Aaron Boone is doing this just to show Brian Cashman that he needs another starter. It's like, look at all the shit we have. We're throwing Domingo Germán getting lit up. They really have no one else other than Severino. I think that's his play here. Like, screw you, Cashman. Look at how bad our starting rotation is.
I think that very well could be true. for being honest. Like, without Severino, the Yankees don't have shit. They have Sabathia sometimes. He's on and off, but the rest of that rotation looks very iffy. I think Sonny Gray, you just have to blast into the sun at this point. He's useless. They really don't have any. The bullpen's fine, right? The bullpen's been doing okay, right, Graz?
Yeah, bullpen's good.
So the bullpen's fine. You're not worried about that. And the bullpen sometimes can get you through an entire postseason because we all know that starting pitching gets weird. You have a short leash in the postseason. So if you're a Yankee fan, I think it's being, I don't want to say it's blown out of proportion. You need a starter. No doubt you need a starter. But I think if the Yankees made it to the postseason without an additional starter, it wouldn't be the end of the world. I think you could still somehow scrap to win games with the rotation as it's currently constructed. Maybe I'm being too optimistic for the Yankees, but I think that's the case. And the Red Sox have their own situation in the starting rotation. So the Yankees aren't their only ones. The Red Sox, it's very similar. They got Chris Sale. The rest of that rotation is not reliable, especially lately. Yeah, David Price pitched a gem against the Detroit Tigers. Congratulations. Show me it against the Yankees or any other team that's above 500, please, because you haven't done it yet.
That's my thing with the Red Sox. Like, they can beat these bad teams, but when they go up against a good team, they usually don't play that well. So, I mean, that's who you're going to be playing in the playoffs. That's what I need to see in the second half to believe in this team.
Yeah, and I'd hate to be a Debbie Downer because what we're seeing from this Red Sox team has been unbelievable this year. They have the best record in baseball, but they're beating up on all these historically bad teams. So until you can do it against teams that are going to be in the playoffs, I still have questions. They struggled a little bit against the Mariners this year. That's a playoff team as of right now. They struggled against the A's, who could be a playoff team this year. They struggled a little bit against the Yankees, obviously a playoff team. I think they didn't really face the Astros much this year, but that was a competitive series. That was a tough one. So yeah, these are tough series against these winning teams. We haven't seen many series against them, but when we have, it's been questionable. So the second half is when we're gonna see what the Red Sox are made of, what all of these competitive teams are made of. I hope, by the way, that we have a Red Sox Yankees division race at the end of the season. Right now, they're 5.5 games up, and God knows if they're going to keep pulling away. I hope they don't pull away because if us three go to this series, I want it to be edge of your seat type stuff.
The Red Sox, literally, I don't think they're on like a 120 win pace. Like, they can't sustain it. Like, especially when you look at it. Like, I think they'll come back to earth. But coming back to earth I still think they're going to win like 108 games.
Right.
Like, that's coming back to earth, which is ridiculous. But going along,
that speaks more to how bad the league is than to how good the Red Sox are. And I love this Red Sox team, but they're not 108 wins good.
No.
If there's a competitive league, if any of these shit ass teams were remotely good, remotely talented, had somewhat of a pitching staff, the Red Sox would be winning like 96, 97 games this season.
The Yankees have a lot of holes and they win a lot of games. Going back to what you said about not beating the good teams, the Yankees are the exact opposite. If you guys realize that, we beat the Astros easily. The Indians we split with, like, you know what I mean. And the Red Sox
can't beat those Orioles.
We can't beat the goddamn Orioles. We put the Mets. The Mets dropped 7 runs yesterday.
Right.
I know Cespedes is back, but Conforto doesn't scare me, and now he's going to scare me. It's ridiculous. But going with the pitching question. It's a weird thing because they usually make moves for the postseason and we needed this guy for the postseason. I think the Yankees are set postseason-wise, but if they want to go after the division, then they need another starter. But postseason-wise, I'm okay throwing Sonny Gray as my 4th starter if he throws 4 innings and then I bring the bullpen in. Because I really think Tanaka is going to come back and be good. You have CCBCC, and then you have the second or best pitcher in the AL for the postseason. Right. It's just like if you want to win, you need a 5th starter to go win you. That's why I don't want someone big. I want a big J.A. Happ guy. Put it out here first.
Yeah, so there's your weekly Red Sox Yankees rivalry talk, and like I said, the plan as of right now is to have the 3 of us go to Fenway at during the very last series of the year. We don't know a particular game yet. We don't really know the details. We still have to look at ticket prices, all of those type of logistics. But the plan is, as of right now, 3 of us go create some content at the game, hopefully at an edge-of-your-seat type of game where it determines the outcome of the division. I'm seriously rooting for that. I don't want the Red Sox to pull away. I want to go to this game because that would be so much fun. The plan is to do, if we make this happen, to do obviously a podcast that during that series and do some Instagram Live or Periscope, whatever. Make it a whole production. It will be a hell of a time. Maybe I want to even maybe wear T-shirts or something. Like, I want this to be a whole thing. We can give away T-shirts. I have this whole thing in my mind of how I want it to play out. I think it could be awesome. So that is something to look forward to. Whether it will actually happen, I don't want to guarantee, but I think, like, I have no problem with it happening. We'll put it that. I'll spend some money. I have no problem.
Yeah,
All
I'm
right.
excited for it. No, I'm excited for it. I think you summed it up perfectly. I think it would be great to do podcasts and get some content all together at the series.
Yeah, and I would like to, I don't even know how you go about doing it. You probably have to contact the bar, but if we could do like a live podcast from a bar, that would be fun too. Like, that's something to think about, like right before the game, or maybe even after the game if it's a depressing outcome for either the Red Sox or the Yankees side. It would be funny to get that. So it's something to think about moving forward. I'm very excited about it. Again, I hope it's actually a division race at the end of the year. Do you have anything else, Ross?
No, that's it for me.
Okay, so we got your video game bracket update.
Yes. I've been waiting.
I missed out on the first two matchups.
Or first four. So we got down. But I've been waiting to save this one. We're going to do the John Dowd side of the bracket now.
Okay.
So welcome back to the video game bracket. One of my favorite creations I've ever made.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
We're going to start here with the 4-13 matchup with Manny Ramirez being the 4 seed from MVP Baseball, cover boy, as well as another cover boy, the 3 seed, A-Rod from Slugfest. I think it might have been 02, 03 Slugfest. He was on Texas at that point.
Okay, so am I starting here?
Yeah. You're the Manny guy.
I think there's so much love for MVP Baseball that it's a no-brainer in Manny's favor. I love the A-Rod Slugfest game, and just the cover of it is so awesome. Him in a Rangers uniform, flames everywhere. Love it. I got to side with Manny on this one, especially with the bias going with the Red Sox World Series year and just the intro, the EA Sports, it's in the game, it's Manny talking to you. The whole nostalgia thing for me, it's Manny in a landslide.
I'm voting Manny as well. More for the game than actually him in the game, but I mean, MVP Baseball might be my favorite baseball game ever.
I see the cover, and Tessie just starts playing in my head.
I get like chills.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a no-brainer.
Unfortunately for me too, even as a Yankee fan, it is a no-brainer. He is unbelievable in that game, but we do have to give some credit. A-Rod and Slugfest, the ability to hit a dinger and then run off first base and beat up the pitcher might have been one of the greatest ideas that anyone's ever had in their entire life.
Yeah, how funny is it? Like, A-Rod's such a mild-mannered guy now when he's in the broadcast booth. He actually seems like a genuinely great dude, but he was on the cover of a game where you could punch the shit out of the pitcher and like light yourself on fire. It's just so strange, the turnaround, the 180 that A-Rod's made.
You hit a ground ball and like the ball coming in and you punch the first baseman before the first baseman would catch it. And I'm like, this is exactly what I needed. I didn't know I needed it, but this is what I wanted.
I was going to say I wish the game still existed, but I'm pretty sure that MLB banned it because they didn't like the look it gave. I remember you could actually charge the mound in All-Star Baseball 2003, which, by the way, I can't believe Jeter wasn't picked in that matchup, but I had no say in it. You could charge the mound in that game, too. So you can charge the mound in mainstream video games up until, I think, like 2004. I think MLB was just – they were done with it. They didn't want that look, which another reason why baseball isn't very marketable because they ban everything fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
Another Justin rant.
Let's move on.
I could go on forever with that.
We're moving on. The 5-12 matchup. This one is going to leave us a little divided here. You got John Dowd, your boy, who Justin will explain shortly who that is. And then Blue Pentina from Mario Baseball, also known as the guy who hits with a motherfucking tree. From Super Mario Sunshine, if you're a big video game fan like I am. You guys take it however you want to go, and then I'm going to argue why you're wrong.
I'm incredibly biased in John Dowd's favor, who, if you guys haven't played MVP Baseball, shut this podcast off. You're not worthy of listening to this podcast. I can't believe if you haven't played MVP Baseball, I don't think you're a baseball fan. We'll put it that way. Going off of that, John Dowd is the replacement for Barry Bonds. For whatever reason, Barry Bonds could not be in the game. I think it actually might have been even steroid related. I really don't know. But needless to say, Barry Bonds not in the video game. John Dowd was his replacement. I actually think John Dowd was a right-handed hitter, which made it even funnier because Barry Bonds obviously is a lefty. John Dowd is a baseball video game legend, and I will not hear otherwise. John Dowd wins this matchup, hands down. Fuck Mario Baseball. Never played it in my life. I've played pretty much every other Mario game, and I didn't even know Mario had a baseball game. We'll put it that way.
That is the most hurtful thing you have ever said.
Wow.
That is the meanest thing. Mario Baseball is a staple in my life.
Yeah, I didn't even know it existed until
The repercussions you're going to get with this.
What?
from
Okay.
Graz.
I know.
Here we go. We're going to talk about this. One, if you haven't played Mario Baseball like Justin, you're an ignoramus. Flat out. Like, it's unbelievable. It's all the fun of Mario games, but you get to play baseball instead of just, like, jump on things. It's way more fun. Second point, John Dowd hit with a bat. Imagine you're so strong, you're so tough, like my boy, that he gets up there with a tree. He's hitting with a tree, a whole tree, a palm tree. He ripped it from the ground. With
Respect the game, Graz.
fingers. Unbelievable.
All right, tiebreaker, Zach.
Zach,
Pick
you got to break it.
wisely.
You know what? I've never played Mario Baseball.
No,
either.
please don't do it.
I've never played Mario Baseball either, but I feel so bad for Graz in
No,
this bracket.
That's not fair.
I'm going with Blue Pantina from Mario
Okay.
Baseball.
I think I'm calling corruption here. I think we have to put this up as a poll for the fans.
Yeah, we'll let them decide it.
well,
Yeah.
actually, I was gonna join you. I think John Dowd, as someone who also played MVP baseball, I would also vote for John Dowd in a surprising turn of events. I just want to point out the fact that that's
Proper.
stupid for not playing Mario Baseball.
After all of that, you're voting down?
Oh, yeah, he's far better, but I just liked the fact that you can hit with a tree. That was sick.
Wow, bro.
When I was like 8 years old.
So we're not putting up as a poll.
No, we're good. John Dowd moves on easily.
Okay. Okay.
John Dowd would
I vote John Dowd now too.
Yeah. Wow. Unanimous John Dowd. That took a turn that I did not see coming.
Well, that's what this bracket's about, is surprising people. I just like arguing. I don't know if you realize that
Okay.
yet.
No, I love it. I love it. All right. Do we have another one?
No, that's it. Next week, tune
Okay.
in for the final Sweet 16 matchups.
That's right. And we will put these results on Twitter for everyone to judge, everyone to look at. Little update. So follow us on at Tater Talk Pod for that, for sure. Do we have one last thing, Roz?
Yeah, I have one last thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, actually, I have 1.5 last things. One, I'm going to Denver this weekend to see the Rockies in person, so get excited.
Wow.
This podcast is a huge Rockies podcast for some reason.
It's huge.
We're big Rockies people, so I'll let you know how that goes. And then my actual one last thing. I am all in on some sort of pitching thing in the All-Star game to show like how like good pitchers are. And I had
Skills
a great
competition
idea.
can be
A
part of
skills
that.
competition. Something pitching related. Did you guys ever play toss across as a kid?
I don't know.
It's like the thing with like sandbags and you play tic-tac-toe with like throwing sandbags.
I think I might have.
Maybe.
It sounds
Maybe
familiar.
it's good. So here's my idea. You do pitching tic-tac-toe. So you have two pitchers right next to each other throwing at the same board, and you play tic-tac-toe, and you have to hit the little spaces. That would
Interesting. Haven't
I would
heard
watch
that one before. But
I think you have to treat. I think that's a great idea, Graz. But I think you have to treat it like the NHL when they do their shooting thing. Like you put targets and you let the pitchers smash them within the strike zone, and you can also do the velocity thing, just like the shooters do in the NHL too. I think
Yep.
that'd be pretty cool.
something like that. I was thinking tic-tac-toe because toss across, but smashing targets would be cool too. Because I'd love to see like pitchers try to do it, and maybe even like curve the ball around someone. Like they throw these great curveballs and sliders. Like, oh, you have to curve it around this, like through past an obstacle, and then hit the target.
That would be cool. Something
All right.
else I love to see in the All-Star game too is like, I don't know if you guys ever did this at baseball camp, but you get a ground ball to the outfielder and they'd have to hit a trash can at home plate. I think that could be pretty cool for some of the outfield guys to see who has like the best arm and the most accurate.
yeah, I'm a big defense guy. I want to see some web gems. That's the one thing I would want in the skills competition. Everything else, I don't really know how you'd go about that. I like the trash can idea. I think that's another aspect of defense that can be shown. But I just like Arenado type plays from third base. I think if you had a third base competition with like the best defenders there, you could even throw Machado. I know he's a shortstop, but he's a great defender as well. So if like you had Machado, Arenado, all these great defensive, Matt Chapman even has emerged as a top defensive third baseman. All those guys in a sort of backhand throw across your body type thing. Arenado makes those plays look routine, and that's one of my favorite types of clips in baseball. If you can show more of that, I think that would help a lot too.
What if they did a horse What if they did it like horse?
I like that. I like that a
I'm
lot.
going to try this, and then you have to copy it, and then you have someone judge it if it was pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, they can go so many directions with it. They just have to be creative and make sure that there's some sort of injury prevention, because that's probably the big thing with baseball. There's so many ways to get hurt.
Yeah.
Like, for example, if you had a speed competition, like a 40-yard dash with, Billy Hamilton and guys like that, they can pull a hammy, like, instantly. It's pretty dangerous. So, there's a lot of thought when it comes to injuries involved, but if, put injuries aside, a skills competition is needed in baseball. So I think we'll leave on that note. As usual, follow us at Tater Talk Pod on Twitter and on Instagram, and then like us on Facebook, all that good stuff. Subscribe, leave us 5 stars on iTunes. Leave a review. We'll read it on the show. That's probably our main thing that we're looking for. Like, follows are great. All that stuff's great. But what really helps us out are those 5-star reviews. Rise up in the rankings a little bit. So please do that. And if you screenshot it, all that good stuff, who knows? Maybe you'll even win something. I'll even throw that out there. Maybe we'll just give something away to you. I don't know what it'll be.
You mentioned T-shirts.
Yeah, right. If we end up making these T-shirts, maybe we'll just hand out some T-shirts. Like, maybe you'll get lucky. Just make sure you screenshot it and send it to us at Tater Talk Pod to prove that you actually did it. Very much appreciate it if you do so. I think on that note, we'll leave it there. That was a Saturday edition of Tater Talk. Very rare. The episode will be out, I hope, on Saturday night, Sunday. So hopefully you guys will all listen to it. There will be no episode on Tuesday. This will be technically the episode for Tuesday. So please keep that in mind. That is the episode for this week. Next week, I will be in Canada, but I will be bringing my stuff to record. So it will be a Canada edition of the podcast. So we'll be back to the regular schedule the following week.
That's what I'm talking about.
We'll see you guys later.
Wow.